Good market morning, folks. This channel is dedicated to objectivity, right? We want to cut through a lot of the noise, a lot of the crazy speculations, and provide objective facts. Today's episode is Microsoft cyber attacks. I'm gonna raise a question to everybody. Leave a comment below as to what you think. So today's question is, should tech companies be liable for cyber events? Great question. Great question. Thank you. Let's get into the background of cyber just a little bit, just so we all are talking from the same background here. So enterprises know cyber is a problem, right? For the last 5 years, this has been the number one topic across the space, what everybody's talking about. Not a lot of people are willing to invest and address the problem at its core. So this particular event opens up a can of worms that we call a zero-day exploit. But a zero-day exploit is, think of it as slumbering malicious software. It's like your favorite spy movie agent kind of sitting around, and all of a sudden they wake up and they're ready to go. So they're waiting to be activated and unaffected by updates. Let's say Microsoft, they see this error. They go to fix it, right? They're just effectively just closing a door, okay? Jason Bourne is still in the room with you. To get an idea of how some of these companies are going to react, especially those that have been lingering and waiting to take action, let's play a quick clip here, which I think just does an amazing job of demonstrating what I think will be the reaction.
Jesus Christ. That's Jason Bourne.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne. Why would he come back now?
Yeah. So it's definitely not going to be good. This exploit was actually something that was demonstrated at Pona Own in Berlin in May 2025. Pona Own is think of it as a convention for hackers. The idea is that you would spend a couple of days with these small penetration teams, and you're looking to exploit large companies and stuff like that, global infrastructure, and it kind of becomes like a competition and stuff like that. So this was effectively showcased as a tool shell. What it will enable is the hacker to go in. They do not have to authenticate that they are that person, and they've pulled your login credentials. So they'll be acting as employees, obviously working behind the scene and setting some things into motion for unfortunate damage. Let's talk about the impacts a little bit. So cyber is often a death sentence. It really is. It is a very high severity thing when it gets pulled off. It really is something that will bankrupt companies. 60% of small enterprises shut down after a cyber event, right? Because the average severity of these things is about $345,000. Look, think about having $345,000 offhand. Not a lot of people do. These things also have kind of a long-tailed impact as well. That's the other unfortunate part of it. So it's you're getting hit from your severity, and that's your immediate cost, right? That's remediation, betterment, that's all of that. But then you have consumer confidence of, oh, well, you got. I don't think I want to do business with you. I don't think I'm going to invest in you. And so if you're publicly traded, it does put a bit of a damper. And there was a study that took companies that were caught. The stock price dipped about 2.4%. Now, what's important to call out there is there's a mention from the Harvard Business Review where they said some with a good reputation will recover, but many will see a decline for months, even years to come. So it's not only are you getting hit with these initial losses, these losses just continue to compound time over time until they squeeze you out. So as we're thinking about the impact, it begs the question, do we expect Microsoft to pay? I had pulled some of their terms of service. So just to do it in real time with everybody here. And the key one that we're actually going to be looking for is liability, right? Limitations of liability. Liability, as a general concept, just means are you culpable? Are you responsible for paying out any damages or what have you? Right. So that, in a nutshell, that's what liability is. Microsoft has, and by the way, a lot of tech companies have this as well, but they have a limitation on their liability, on what they're willing to pay out. And what Microsoft has done, let me zoom in just to make it a little bit easier on the eyes. Effectively, their limitation is if we did something malicious, if we did something that's out of pattern, right? If we did something that is where we did not try to address it, right? Like they would be culpable. But in this particular sense, where it was an exploit, it was taken advantage of, you were a customer, and unfortunately, you're now a victim of cybercrime. It's really unfortunate. The other thing that you need to pay attention to when you look at a terms of service as well is there is a phrase called as is, right? So this is a disclaimer of warranty. So think of as is as if you were trying to buy like a used car, right? They can't make that used car 100% guaranteed. They can't bring it up to speed, and they can't do everything, right? But what they can do is do a good enough job, and then it's on you, the consumer, if you will, to identify potential risks and understand, does this align with my organization's risk tolerance? So unfortunately speaking, these two, I do believe that they will be fine. They did try to address this relatively quickly. I would say exceptionally quickly. They were working over the weekend on this to address it. But the other thing too is that they've notified their customers across the board, and they gave best practices on how to mitigate some of these potential damages before they become a really big issue. So from my perspective, I would say Microsoft has done a pretty good job of covering their trails on this one. So do we expect others to pay? Great question. The short answer is history says yes. There was a major event. It was a CrowdStrike IT outage. What makes this particularly interesting, when they looked at this major outage, they looked between Western and Eastern countries across airlines, and they found that Western countries had a severe impact. There were negative customer effects of being caught, if you will, by a cyber event. But history could always change. Now, to round us out here, we're going to leave it to Warren Buffett. Only when the tide goes out that you learn who's been swimming naked. Oh, it's a great quote. It's very telling of folks that take egregious risks. But in the terms of cyber and cybersecurity and who got caught and who didn't get caught, like, I think this tells the story very, very well. Investors, this is more towards our general audience here. Just be mindful of how enterprises are postured, especially around security, right? It's important, especially if you're invested in companies, to be listening to their public releases, their earnings calls, to determine, do you feel comfortable that they are making the right steps to effectively protect themselves, right? And lastly, this just goes for everybody. Everybody in the room, hey, just change your password. Change your password. That's it. Keep it simple. You don't want somebody sitting in the background like Jason Bourne ready to activate when you make a mistake. That being said, guys, if you really like the content, consider investing a like. Consider subscribing if you feel like this is the kind of stuff that you want to listen to on a weekly basis. But other than that, I hope you enjoy your coffee and enjoy your market mornings.